Mr. Igor Akerega is a journalist and a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Mr. Akerega, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yeah, good morning, Geoffrey. Good morning, Kelly. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
I think let's get started with the New Telegraph. Literally all the papers are leading with the similar story, but let's see how we can pick through all of them. New Telegraph is leading with bandits strike again, abduct pregnant woman, nursing mother, 7 family members, others inquire. Bandits strike again, abduct pregnant woman, nursing mothers, 7 family members, others inquire. So a family of 7 are now with abductors. So the riders, 8 children, women in Kano, Tinubu orders security cordon of Kwara, Niger, Kebbi Forest calls for air land raids of bandits, hideouts, and more and more. What do you make of this development, Mr. Akerega?
Well, it's sad. It's a sad day for most Nigerians who will be watching us this morning. I'm personally not impressed. What we are faced with is some kind of melodrama, some kind of drama, where you just see people being kidnapped and then we are told they are released. It is only in Nigeria that you see this kind of things happening, and it does appear as if everyone is helpless. I feel very, very sad this morning. Nursing mothers, as you said rightly early in the program, pupils in primary school, sometimes even kidnap the disabled and they take them away. So basically what that just tells us is that we are really in deep trouble in this country. We are in deep trouble. But again, I take it to the media this morning. I do not know why editors still use titles like bandit. Dictionary meaning of bandit and terrorist is very clear. What we are having, clearly, are terrorists taking over territories in Nigeria, kidnapping people, making all kinds of demands on government and on individuals and families. So these are terrorists. We should name them, give them the names that is appropriate for them. These are not bandits. Bandits are just some kinds of individuals who maybe do some staccato attacks and run away. They don't carry heavy weapons and face security forces and kill people, take people in large numbers and keep them in camps. So these are terrorists who are determined to challenge the Nigerian state. And so far, in my view, is the approach that the government is adopting in dealing with them is too cosmetic. It is like a handshake, just a cross, somewhere passing in the back. Nobody's telling Nigerians, what is really happening. No proper communication as to how those who are kidnapped, those who are seized by these terrorists are released. For example, the Kebbi, the MAGA guests, the 28 MAGA guests, that were released, and then the ones in Kwara, in Kwara, how they were released. Also, the kidnapped citizens have been released. Now, were they rescued or released? There's a difference between rescuing people and releasing people. If there's a rescue, then it means there's a confrontation between the security forces and these terrorists. Now, if they are released, it means there is a negotiation. Something gave way. So is the government telling us that they paid these terrorists to release the abductees? The government needs to come clean. Yes, my former boss, Bayo Nanoga, he was my boss at the News Temple PME as editor-in-chief. He is strong-willed. He's a professional. I know Bayo Nanoga as a professional. A strong-willed individual who stood against, the Abacha regime. We were all mobilized at the time, the News Temple PME. It was, those 3 titles led the struggle, supported the democratic forces, to chase the military away from the political space. But I'm surprised the kind of statements that Mr. Bayo is releasing now. He needs to come clean. He's a professional. Yes, he has a job to do, but in doing that job, Nigerians also deserve to know. You cannot compare, what Bayo is doing now with what somebody like Ruben Abati did when he managed the Goodluck Jonathan media. So Nigerians need more information. If the government negotiated with the terrorists, tell us that they negotiated and they were released. If ransom were paid, Nigerians should also know. The House of Reps is considering a bill. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Kalu yesterday or so, mooted the idea of punishing political office holders who negotiate and pay ransom to bandits. Well, that's a 30 point, is the way to go. But it all begins with the government and ends with the government. The government has a duty to protect Nigerians, to secure lives and property. But if this same government is paying terrorists, to secure releases of Nigerians that are still from their legitimate places of business, legitimate places of education, we have a big problem in our hands. I also recall there have been issues of where are these terrorists getting their sophisticated weapons from? Now the answer is here. If indeed they are being paid billions of naira to secure release, then they have money to buy weapons, to even buy weapons that will probably be better than what the armed forces of Nigeria are carrying. We are still carrying AK-47 rifles, but I see GPMGs, automatic weapons, anti-aircraft guns, shoulder-held, weapons with these terrorists. That is extremely dangerous. We cannot continue to pamper these terrorists. It is time to declare full-scale war. I said it last week. I do not. Yes, the president has said he should cordon off the forest in Kwara, maybe Niger State, and maybe up to Kaduna and there. But that is not just enough. We should cordon off the entire forest, the entire borders, and declare war on this terror.
All right, Mr. Carrier, just let's stay with the New Telegraph for a moment. The rider there below the main rider, it says FG bans open grazing nationwide over rising insecurity. Chibok still under heavy taxation, terror, reign communities. So, I mean, speak to this controversial issue around open grazing, which the federal government has put a ban on. Do you think this is the way to go? Does this solve the problem? Because the narrative and the arguments for headers, even the likes of Sheikh Gumi have argued that these people have their roots and now they've been taken over by development and all of that. Do you think a ban on open grazing perhaps will solve this problem?
That is a piece of good news. For me, it's a piece of good news. And I'm sure most Nigerians, particularly the farming communities, the agrarian communities from Plateau to Benue to Enugu, down to Niger State, which is even a food basket of the country. I mean, to be sharing news. This is too long in coming. This is the first thing we should have done. There's nowhere in the world where cattle are allowed to roam all over the place. Roam all over, even in Abuja, the city center. You see cattle everywhere. What kind of policy that the government will treat with a kid's glove to say cattle can roam everywhere? And then the headers themselves say that God has given them all the land to feed their animals. I mean, who does that? What kind of embarrassing situation is this? So it is a good development that the government is beginning to wake up. Cattle must be rushed, they must be kept in confined places such that it can minimize and reduce a conflict with farmers. You know, the Minister of Livestock, I mean, he's done the right thing. He has said that that can generate about 7 trillion naira in the next 5 years for the government. Yeah, which I believe in. We should be able to produce milk from cattle and do all kinds of. So the ban on open grazing is a welcome development. I fully support it. Yes. And I'm sure most Nigerians will.
Yeah, let's switch to The Guardian. It states with Insecurity, security triggers rare APC dissent in reps amid fresh Kwara Kano attacks. I mean, you have spoken already about that. Maybe we should take a look at other riders there. Rising insecurity may push 35 million Nigerians into severe hunger in 2026. That's a warning from the United Nations. I'd like you to speak to this, and there's another writer there that Sani warns northern leaders against playing politics with insecurity. Let's see how we can do this perhaps in 2 minutes. The warning from Kaduna State Governor that the northern leaders shouldn't play politics with insecurity. Remember, there's a meeting scheduled for this Saturday where the northern governors are also going to meet and perhaps make their position known as regards insecurity in the country. And then plus this warning, which I think we should take seriously, Antonio Guterres, United Nations Secretary General, warning that this rising insecurity may push 35 million Nigerians into severe hunger. Mr. Kiriga.
No, absolutely. There is no two ways. No, the signs are all there, are all clear. Sometimes early this year, we saw food prices soar. That is because of also the spike in terrorism, where many farmers were killed across the country and people could not go to the farm. Benue State particularly, and Plateau State and Niger State. We saw all of that. So that is correct, that if the government does not need these states of terrorist attacks across the country with board, deal with them appropriately, then of course we should be expecting that there will be limited production of food, and that is going to lead to hunger. There's no two ways about that. Now, with regards to northern governors, I think they are really part of the problem that we're having, in the country. I remember when Southwest governors introduced Amotekun, and the issue is what kind of weapons they will carry. Many northern governors, condemned what the Southwest was doing. The Southwest governors again have met yesterday again to move a fresh idea on how they can build security in the Southwest. That's what I think the northern governors will be doing. They are putting a lot of pressure on the federal government. Indeed, the governors are the chief security officers of their state. There's a lot governors can do, to beef up security in their state. But many northern governors are really not doing anything. So the advice or the comment by Governor Sani is appropriate, because the northern governors will have to sit up, they have to mobilize themselves, organize themselves, pull funds together, and become the first line of defense before the federal forces can move in. So I agree with him.
I think well said. The northern leaders, especially the political elites, need to do a lot of soul searching and honesty to their people. Because whatever data you look at in Nigeria that is on the downside risk of that particular data, it points north. And it's not supposed to be. Northern people, a lot of great people, intelligent people, fertile land and all of that. So really don't know what's going on. If you talk poverty, it's there. You talk about health issues, it's there.
Out of school children.
Out of school children. So whatever downside risks of numbers is always pointing north first. So the leaders have to be honest.
Quickly, I must add, you see, the North must de-emphasize religion. Because we must begin to tell ourselves the home truth. The North must begin to de-emphasize religion as a tool for development. I have not seen anywhere in the world, even in Saudi Arabia, no, they have not elevated religion to the peak such that it's almost become a statecraft. The northern political elites and leaders are using religion to deceive their people, to blindfold them, maybe to make them amenable to control and all of that. And that is also part of the issue. English philosopher Cleaver rightly posited that one is either part of the problem or part of the solution. So northern political leaders, particularly the governors, must begin to de-emphasize religion. 12 northern governors who imposed Sharia on 12 northern states, and then others took a cue from there. There's a need to now de-emphasize this and focus more on education, development, digital education, ICT, AI. That's what they should be driving their people towards, and not to taking them to malams and living in some kind of archaic path. And they tell you that grazing is a culture, it's a tradition that they cannot jettison. I do not agree. And most Nigerians, that is really at the root of the national crisis that we have. It is time to tell ourselves the home truth. We have, like you said, we have very intelligent people in the north, whether they are Fulanis or traditional Hausa people, very brilliant people. But these people, I doubt if they can have access to governance. But that is really at the root of the national crisis that we have. De-emphasize, archaic, traditional religious practices, such that we can embrace modern civilization, and that can also orchestrate, productivity and development.
Yeah, Mr. Kiriga, this is the moment. I feel that this moment of intensity has presented us with an opportunity to be blunt, to be truthful, and to be brutally honest. And if we miss this, I don't know what else. But before we let you go, let's go to this Nigeria. Away from security, let's just highlight politics of PDP just by the side of that picture to the right. You can see PDP crisis. Court restrains Damagun Turaki, orders from obstructing Abdurrahman Ayanwu in their duties as acting chair and secretary. Orders INEC IGP to stop further interactions with them. The PDP crisis is getting to a ludicrous height. There's something I think the lawyers call stare decisis, where a decision has been made and finalized, especially by the apex court, yet we see lower courts assuming jurisdiction over issues of political party membership and leadership that they are not supposed to have, whether it's a state high court or a federal high court. So this is just becoming a messy situation. What do you make of this?
I think this is deliberate. The National Judicial Council is too silent on this. The body of benchers must have to speak up. The Nigerian Bar Association, it is time for them to intervene. This is legal profession that is on trial, where judges and justices appear to have gone berserk, delivering judges that is at variance with extant orders from a sister court, except a court is superior jurisdiction. I do not know why federal high courts, state high courts are running berserk. The PDP problem is becoming clear that what we are seeing is beyond what the eyes can see. I begin to see indeed some interference coming from official quarter, because if that is not, why are the judges allowed to do what they are doing? You know, Turaki, was elected in the Ibadan PDP elective convention, where others stayed away. For me, for those who stayed away, they have decided to leave the PDP voluntarily. Many of them have moved on to the ADC. Some have joined the ruling APC and all of that. I think the PDP should be allowed to breathe some air of relief. The judiciary, the court, are becoming really, the Achilles heel of the PDP. It's a big problem. It has to be solved very quickly.
Yes, I'm sure we're going to mainstream that conversation very soon. This turning law on his head, as far as we see, with it, especially is becoming too notorious with the lower courts, with the greatest respect to very fine judges we have still at that level, but the things are becoming embarrassing. Mr. Ego Akerega is a journalist and member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Thank you for coming on the program.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks.
All right, I'll take a break. When we come back, so the big news, Kebbi girls, the 24 of them that were abducted, they have now been freed or rescued. I don't know what language to use, but the most important thing is that they're back. And Kwara, while 38 were freed, 11 have now been they've been abducted. So in focus will be national security, but focusing on Kwara as well. Two gentlemen who are security experts will be joining us in just a moment. Stay with us.